the other one. Yep, I have it here to sign. Yep.
Okay, I think we're going to get started. It is what it is. Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Barnes,
Here.
Mrs. Rogers, Mr. Januso, Mrs. Barney,
Here.
Mr. Roach,
Here.
Ms. Durig,
Here.
Solicitor Nicholas,
Here.
Mr. Brett,
Here.
Mr. Lennon.
Here.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve September 19th, 2023 minutes. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes,
Aye.
Mrs. Barney,
Aye.
Mr. Roach.
Aye.
Engineers report, please.
Yeah, Larry's going to provide the update on the Lawrence project.
Okay.
Okay, on the Lawrence project, first on the collection system construction contract, I did bring a map tonight if anybody's interested highlighting how far. They're probably about 50% through all the sewers in the village so far. This past week, they started, if you've driven through Georgetown Road, you've noticed that there's been shutdowns there on the road where they're doing the bore crossings at Mayview Road, which they did complete in the last couple of days. So work completed in the past month includes work on 3rd Street, Boy Street Extension, Alley C and Alley B, and they're currently working on, and that's a force main that crosses Mayview, the force main where they're going to pump from the old Teodori plant to the new plant. So that's what they're working on right now. They wanted to get that done before winter. Did have one issue at Mayview Road. They were directed by Equitrans, there's a gas transmission main that they weren't aware of, that they needed to go deeper than what was shown on the plans. We expect that they'll submit a request for some additional consideration on that bore crossing, but they did complete the work. They weren't shut down by Equitrans, it was just, it took a little bit of time to go deeper, so.
Okay. Can you let us know what that change request will be next month?
Yes, yep. They haven't submitted anything to date. They just brought it up during the construction meeting to put us on notice.
Okay.
Yep. The Conservation District, they did approve, I reported last month that there was a permit amendment that the Conservation District was requiring because of what they were using for a disposal site that was within our permit boundary. Rudzik did apply for the permit amendment. They did receive the permit amendment, and the Conservation District did come out and they had some, I'd say some minor violations that they saw that they had to repair, like silt sock type items. So there wasn't anything significant there, but they did approve the permit amendment, so that's good.
That's the one we talked about last month that was for Phil?
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
on Federal Street.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. He did submit partial payment number 5 in the amount of $486,772.82. I believe it's on the agenda. Yes. As item 2, so we'd recommend approval of that by motion when we go back to the agenda. Under the treatment plant, work completed this month, so right now the tanks, they did complete the tanks, they completed all the grouting, they're pre-stressed post-tension, so they got all the cables in, stressed them, and right now we're going through the water testing in the tanks, so that just started this week. So they filled one of the tanks. We're monitoring the levels, make sure it's holding. Right now, everything's dry on the outside of the tanks, that's a good sign. And they're working on the site work, outfall work, a lot of underground piping, and they're getting ready to start on the building here in the next couple of weeks. They did submit the equipment for the SPR in the past month, so a lot of the big equipment, that was approved, so they do have shop drawing approval for a lot of the equipment now, the majority of the equipment, if not all of it. So I think now we're waiting for a formal schedule from them now that they have their equipment approvals of when they expect that to show up, because that's what's going to drive the rest of the schedule on their contract. So we do have partial payment number 4 in the amount of $1,008,952.49, and that's on the agenda also, with the Penn Best payment requisition number 5 for both of those as well. That's it for the Lawrence project, unless there's any questions.
No? Oh, good. Thank you. Anything else?
The only other item, and it's on your agenda, is the Act 57 analysis we discussed last month. The report is attached to the resolution, so nothing additional other than that.
Okay, very good. All right, so do I hear a motion to approve partial payment number 5 in the amount of $486,772.82?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Barney?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve partial payment number 4 in the amount of $1,008,952.49?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Barney?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
And I will make the motion to accept Penvest payment requisition number 5 in the amount of $1,544,301.30. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Barney?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Okay, next item. Do I hear a motion to adopt Resolution 2023-08 that acknowledges receipt of the LSSE Act 57 report and sets forth the connection fees for the CTMA's service areas?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Barney?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Excuse me, I have the original down here. With some signature copies to everybody.
Okay, we'll do that before we leave. Just a note on that one, the website will be updated with that information after this resolution is signed?
Yes,
Okay,
yes. Well, is it going to take effect January?
January 1st.
Okay, so that'll give me a little bit of time because part of the budget and part of my report will discuss that. But yeah, it can be updated. That's not a problem.
Okay, very good. Okay, moving on to the solicitor's report.
Thank you. I have 3 items. One brief update on CHJA. That's the pending litigation. I believe everybody will recall that the court appointed a mediator, Tom Vreeland, and that wasn't a requested mediator, that was a court-appointed one. And the mediator had his first meeting with the parties and suggested that all matters be stayed while there's some settlement discussion, including the prospects of the sale of CHJA. There's an open bid, it's public, where 2 entities have bid for the possible sale of CHJA, Pennsylvania American Water and Aqua. They have made presentations to the chairman and solicitors and managers on several occasions.
Your microphone, sorry,
I'm sorry.
just thought of it.
Yep, they've made, there's been several presentations. Aaron has attended one, Roseanne attended the other, along with myself and Mike. It's still very much a work in progress. What I passed out tonight were the latest information that both Aqua and Pennsylvania American Water have distributed, and it deals with certain expenditures that might have to be done to the plant. The decision to sell lies with Canonsburg and Houston, not with us. So we are trying to get a meeting scheduled with Canonsburg and Houston. I say we, Chartiers Township, Cecil Township, North Strabane Township, and so far haven't been successful to do that. But as I say, it's a work in progress. But the mediator is overseeing now the litigation and also trying to wrap in the possibility of a settlement given a sale. So that's it, and that's the information you have. It's just informational.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that for the plant site, you'll recall that we have condemned that property. We have site acquisition already, but the money that would be owed, that potentially that would be owed, is still being settled, or settlement discussions ongoing. The only other item I have is listed on the solicitor's report, recommending the motion to execute the settle agreement with SCB Capital for the condemnation of the ingress and egress for the Lawrence Treatment Plant site. You'll recall that there's the plant site itself, which is still in negotiations, but the ingress and egress from the street to the plant site incorporated quite a bit of property, and we were able to settle that, and that's the agreement that's on the agenda. So we're just recommending that motion for approval this evening, and that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. I'll make the motion to execute settlement agreement with SCB Capital for the condemnation of ingress and egress for the Lawrence Treatment Plant site, and proceed in accordance with the same. I think everybody should have received that in their packet. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Barney?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
By the way, I would mention too, my understanding, I think Kevin would agree that that's consistent with what was budgeted for that whole process, and hopefully we stay within budget for the purpose of the plant site as well.
Okay.
That's our goal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the business manager's report.
Okay, your packets had the August 2023 financial reports. Are there any questions?
Nope.
Okay. And that's it.
Okay. Authority manager's report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Basically, just an update on a few items. First thing under old business, we're all aware that the old Ford pickup, the 2012, wouldn't pass inspection because of the bed supports. Like I said, this is a truck we use to plow snow. I think I may have found an option to keep this truck and get it fixed reasonably, just so we can keep it for, like I said, plowing. We use it to plow the pump stations. We use it to plow down at Teodori. Just would hate to beat up a new truck to go ahead and use it to plow. So, like I said, once I have the final option, I'll let everybody know. Item 2, the VFD that we replaced down at Miller's Run, I am still waiting for Clinton Control. They're in the process of upgrading or giving us a price for if they're able to control it or do a couple different things there. So once I have something, I will let everybody know, what is going on there. Third item is Miller's Run wastewater treatment plant. The hot water tank that was not working has been repaired. That was taken care of last week. The roof that was leaking in the office area, the blower room area where we store records, and there are a couple other spots. Tennis roofing was out last week and was able to repair all these spots at a cost of $2,600, which I thought was very reasonable. That's taken care of now. We had the rain over the weekend, and nothing was reported that we had any leaks, so that was taken care of. I reported on the ventilation fans. I just have not had a chance to get up on the roof to take a look at those. So once I get a chance to get up there and evaluate them, I will provide everybody with an update on that. And I'm just waiting for the pricing on the fire extinguisher units. Item 4, Cool Valley project update. Is my understanding that project has been put on hold again. So, Jack,
They withdrew their application, so chances are it's not going to move forward anytime soon.
Okay, so this will probably be the last month you see that on the report for now. So I can finally remove that, and that's one less thing that I have to keep beating everybody up every month over and letting them know what's going on. Item 5, Klinger Road Pump Station repair has been completed. We had a pump that failed. It's been reinstalled and back in service. The pump was sent out. It was disassembled, inspected. The stator, surge, high pot windings were steamed and baked. New bearing seals, cord and cap were installed. They reported that the seal failed and the cap and the cord were also the cause of the failure. So that's back in service. That pump station is back fully operational. Item 6, I reported last month that the NPDS permits for Teodori and the Cherry Brook wastewater treatment plant will expire in May. Renewal applications are due by December. I'm putting the applications together, getting everything there. I'll kick those over to LSSE for final review just before we send them out. Like I said, I'm waiting for some lab testing because we have to do a couple things there, so, but that's in the process, so I can have those submitted by December 3rd. Under new business, Wolfson Wind Ford does have a F-350 currently available to replace the 2012 that we've been talking about. He did tell me the ordering period for 2024 has opened, but they're not letting any orders being placed right now, and they're not sure of what the price would be to even do, and they're not even knowing if they would let them order, how long it would be till we get it. The cost of this vehicle, including the CoStar's discount just for the vehicle, is $52,970. To add the safety and lighting and accessories would be another $46,222. And if we wanted to put a plow on this truck, the cost is another $8,371. I just recommend replacing the truck as is, adding the lighting and accessories for the amount of $57,390. We did set money aside for the 2-truck replacement, but like I said again, I'm just concerned that if we wait, we may not be able to get one, and we're down to 2 vehicles, so.
Okay, I know that the 2 trucks were in the budget for this year, and, you know, one was purchased already, so don't think we need a motion since the budget was an approved budget. I think you should move ahead. Any questions or concerns?
I only have one question.
Yes.
If we don't move forward on this, after what was all over the news, is the contract has been settled, I guess, what is it? How much, many dollars more an hour? And they said that they don't know whether or not there'll be any availability of vehicles.
The other thing that they did tell me when I purchased the first one back in May, he was telling me that if we did wait, at that time, they were predicting an 8 to 10% price increase at that time. So now with the settling of the contract and everything else, it may be more than 8 to 10%. So, you know.
And what's the difference if it's a 2023 brand new versus a 2024 that you're going to have to wait till it comes in 2025 anyway?
Right. So, but like I said, again, I just didn't want to get caught. So that's why I wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. And
Yeah, I think we should move forward.
okay.
Definitely.
All right. Item number 2, Pennsylvania American Water has located the water services for Georgetown Estates and the Cherry Brook pump stations. They're coming out to verify these services are working in working order. For some reason, we had shut the water off to both of these facilities at some point in time. I'm not sure why, because without having the water there, we don't have any way to do housekeeping. Hose the wet wells down, hose the floats down, clean the debris baskets. When the guys pull the pumps up to inspect them, they have to take 5-gallon buckets of water over to wash them down. We do have water at the other facilities, so they're coming out to take a look at that and, you know, see about getting those hooked back up. While they were out, I had them take a look at Klinger Road Pump Station. They think that they could possibly provide a water service there too, but he's looking more into that, so I'll keep everybody posted on that. But I think it's very important that we go ahead and get that water hooked up so we can do maintenance there, and that'll help keep just routine maintenance down as far as what they can't do without water. So, item 3, again, last month I mentioned about it's that time for the budget. So I'm recommending tonight that we establish a subcommittee to assist in preparation of the 2024 budget. I have started working on this process, which will include a review of the rate structure, Schedule A, and recommendations of capital improvement projects within the treatment plants, pump stations, and collection systems. So it's up to you, Madam Chairman, to establish the budget committee, and we can, you know, work on that. I'll try to get all the legwork done. I started all of that, but like I said, it's that time of year.
Okay, well, I volunteer for consistency since I was on last year. Darlene or Craig, you would like to be on the budget committee?
I'm going to be leaving town.
Oh, that's right.
I'm excited about this.
He's excited. So we've got our subcommittee.
Okay, all right.
You can see it written all over his face.
I mean, I can participate from Aruba, but I don't know.
That's fine. Anybody's welcome to whatever. Like I said, I'll try to keep everybody in the loop. It's just, it's a big process to try to go through there. I know we looked at it a couple times last year, my first time through it. Like I said, again, it's a little bit more streamlined this year. So we'll work our way through and get something together. And the last item is the Miller's Run Pump Station has a debris mat that keeps building up in the wet well. I can't tell you the last time this facility was cleaned, but I think it should be done prior to winter. What's happening is we're having an issue with getting sulfide readings over at Miller's Run plant, and it's, when we're feeding the chemical, it's dropping on top of that mat, not mixing. So there's money left in the budget that, we didn't do small things at another facility, so I can move things around. It shouldn't take more than one day to clean to have them come in, but I'd like to get that done before winter. Ballpark, you're probably looking at whatever the vac truck is in a labor, probably about $3,500, maybe a little bit more, is what you're looking at for a day's worth of work. And it's a pretty nasty job. Somebody's going to be in a Tyvek suit, and it's not fun. But it's just, it'll give us a chance to see if there's anything going on in there that needs attention, so I can plan for that in the capital budget.
Sure.
And those are the items that I have for this evening.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mike? All right, any correspondence?
Yeah, there was, we received a letter from a customer concerning our paperless bills. When a customer receives the email that they have a new invoice, in the body of the email, it just shows the current month's balance. It doesn't show if they have a past due or anything. But you have to click on the link to see the invoice. And we've had a few other customers call in that are just assuming what comes in on the email is what they owe. And I went into Invoice Cloud and changed the wording on the email to tell them that they need to click on the link
Okay.
to see if there's any past due balance.
So now the
So
email
hopefully-
says instructions on.
Yes, that they need to, which in the email, it says to click on the link to view your invoice. But they're just, I think, assuming that whatever comes in on the email, that's what they have to pay.
Okay. So the customer who recently wrote in is requesting relief from a past due amount? Or,
She really didn't say. She just brought that to our attention, and
so it has been corrected
It
by
has been
more
corrected.
instructions ongoing.
yes.
Any questions about that? I think we did receive that
It was
information
a
in our
letter,
packet.
the letter was in your
Yeah,
packet.
the letter was included there. Any questions or concerns there? Have you contacted her to let her know that that has been updated in the system?
I have not, no.
I'd like you to do
Do you want me
that
to
if you
contact?
would.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will. I'll contact her.
Okay. Okay. Any more questions or concerns on that matter? That was our only correspondence, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve payment of expenses and transfer of funds?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes?
Aye.
Mr. Januso is joined by phone. Mr. Januso, payment of expenses and transfer of funds? Aye. Mrs. Barney?
Mrs. Barnes?
Yes.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Okay, I don't think that there are any comments from the floor, unless you have any. Okay, so there being no other business, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Wait,
Oh, you have a
I have
comment?
I have one question.
Sure.
And I think it's for this gentleman here. Okay, so there's Pennsylvania American Water gave a bid. I mean, they made a proposal as to how much money they want to pay.
Right.
And so did Aqua.
Right.
Okay, so I'm under the impression was what, 132 million for one and 135 million?
It's approximately right.
Yeah,
What
135 and 132. The big question is, and I got some information, is how much improvements is Pennsylvania Water going to make to this that the residents won't incur? And how much improvements will Aqua make? What are they planning on?
It's a good question, and that's the purpose of the handout, at least for the major purchase, or the major expenditures. And if Mr. Giannusso is listening, there is a copy of the Aqua and Pennsylvania American Water flyer that he'll be receiving from Mike. But the documents that I passed out tonight are their explanation of each of those expenditures, if you will.
So
And
there's a whole lot more pages to this one than there is
correct.
to this.
And in addition to that, it's very much a work in progress. The meetings are preliminary at this point, and I will say this, and I probably should have mentioned it earlier, that even if the decision is made either to not sell or to sell to Aqua or to sell to Pennsylvania American Water, Cecil, Chartiers, and Strabane all have a provision in their respective service agreements to be the final approval of a sale. So they have to deal with us eventually. But it's a little early yet. And what you asked, I think in large part, is addressed by those handouts I gave you.
Okay, so then
Okay.
I have to go home and do my homework.
Right.
Because I'm thinking that if Aqua only plans on putting in, say, $10 million, and Pennsylvania American put in $30 million, even though one is a little more expensive than the other, at least it won't fall back on the residents as far as an increase in their storage bills or anything if they're going to put the improvements and so on in the plant.
I will say, though, that if it's true what they say, that their rates incorporate what they say they're going to expend, Pennsylvania American Water's rates were slightly higher, if I understand correctly. But again, I think that it's early, because at the end of the day, I think that there'll probably be an evaluation by each of the municipalities as to what is going on here that we're not completely privy to at this point. And that's why I said we all have what we call the Mother May I clause in each of our agreements, and it's a little early yet, that's all. We're still trying to sort out the information.
Yeah, I agree
Okay.
with you, Darlene, that it's going to, what does it mean to our, communities, our customers? It's all about that end rate, and that hasn't been established. I think from the different capital numbers that you see there on the expenditure, it's, they're coming, each of those two companies are coming at the perspective differently on what needs to be fixed, what doesn't need to be fixed. But as Ramel said, I think there's a lot of discovery yet to
Right.
come.
Well, I know that I was approached, and it says, which company is committing to invest more in this system upgrades, Pennsylvania American or Aqua? Because the consumers will get stuck with the bill under the Aqua plan.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
I got you.
It's a little more complex than that. It looks like that on the onset, but they're only going by what they know on what is wrong with the system. Their commitment is to fix whatever is broke when they find it. It's not to a future investment. I'm going to invest, X number of dollars, and if we don't need it now, we'll use it later. That's not what's going to happen. It's the amount that needs to be fixed in by their perspective. So it's, again, a lot more discovery, I think, has to be made yet before we determine whether we're gonna be a yay or nay, or,
And whatever we get, I'll bring to the meetings. We'll make sure you have all the information we have.
Do we have any say as to whether or not Pennsylvania American or Aqua?
Is chosen?
Yes.
We really don't.
Okay.
No, we really do. That falls basically to Canonsburg and
Canonsburg,
Houston. Yeah.
And the rest of us are on the wayside.
Although, at the end of the day, you could say no to whoever they choose, because you have that mother may I clause. That's all. They
Okay.
know that, so, okay. Does that answer? Okay.
Yes.
Yep, okay.
I just wanted to make it,
it's an important piece.
Yeah,
It's very
It's a
important.
good question.
yes,
Yep.
because
Question.
it ends up being a $30 million, or investment to fix something.
Right,
And, you're gonna go with somebody that bids higher, but are they gonna put any money into it and then wait, and people have to then pay the bottom line?
right. Now, one of the two companies did say that they would assume the contract that's already in place. Is that for both, do you know, Ramel?
I think so. I
Okay.
think both would, yeah.
Okay, so that makes a difference, too. Okay, anything else for tonight? All right, then I will restate. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do I hear a second?
Second the motion?
Aye, aye, aye.
Yep.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned, 7:03.
It's up
Not a record, but close.
I know.
high rises. It's not at the high rises.
Oh, lots of signatures, probably.
Nice place.
Hey, can I ask you to, since you were at the meeting, I was not at the supervisors meeting, but I heard that the fund was going to be used
Yes.
for, and I think I copied you on an email. So I emailed Cindy Fisher, and then I saw her at that Aqua meeting. She says, I know I owe you an answer, but I didn't get it yet. I asked her what the total amount of the